barrier to entry is too high. So
I think it's important to think in this context. The wiki example is a good one, but the scale, so the data that's being collected, if you're talking about points of interest or hours of operations and things like that, these are kind of factual datums that are very hard to verify on its own. It comes in, whereas when you have a wiki article, there's some collective body of knowledge, if it's some shared wisdom that can be built. So when you have these kind of atomic pieces of information coming through your system, and it's very hard to authenticate the veracity of one. Are these hours of operation typed correctly, for example? Then the role of the computer is in checking that data that's coming in and verifying that, and keeping the history of things over time becomes more important. So using statistical models as well as using using mechanical Turk kind of thing where you have users checking users. All of those things are as important as the other, because you can't, depending on that kind of granularity of the data and how easily you can check against, how easily it is to be wrong, that has a major impact on what you're doing. Like neighborhoods is an example, or wine regions, was that?
We're using wine region, but
yeah, so
a lot of similarities to a lot of what people talk about.
Yeah, so wine region, wine region is a cultural phenomenon, and it's going to be, there may be an official version, but there may be people who want the wine region to be a different shape to include their winery because it gives them some advantageous status or something like that. Verifying that, what do you do? And something like that requires some expert piece of knowledge. So having more and more eyes on things like that doesn't necessarily help you unless you have a local expert. Right? So then you're into this problem: how do you get the local experts involved? The motivating people, as opposed to becomes really important.
Money does seem to work. But when you don't have a lot of that, it gets a little bit more difficult.
So that's the name of the topic: losing money in geo here.
Contacting people at their pain points. So when you get to a restaurant and it's closed because the opening hours are wrong, allowing, and I know it's difficult to really try from the outset, but automating everything so that they can correct it right from their phone, correct the information, or start disputing it right from their phone. So at least there is a question mark or something appears on the information for the next person. So at least 50 people don't show up, but maybe one person will show up to it. So as soon as and for wiki pages, I think self-interest drives a lot of it too. I've been to wiki pages where I've wanted to read the article and someone vandalized it while I'm going to history, and I restore it. And I restore it for everyone else, but for myself too. So it's
I think it's important that it's not. I think most people want to participate in something bigger than just themselves. Right? They want to be part of a community.
How long do you think we're going to be able to pull that off?
Well, we don't really.
My users,
the bigger
are not that naive. They're kind of tired of having to do all this work for stuff that they pay for.
It depends on what it is. I run a nature education nonprofit. There's a lot of people who love hiking
all day long.
Right.
But if you go from a commercial product and you have bad data, and then you come back to them and you say, "Oh, well, we really want you to crowdsource the data," they say, "What the fuck? I just spent $400 for my phone."
Well,
get it right.
What type of data it is? I think if it's an artifact of something that they're doing anyway, like if they like to hike and they just happen to be carrying a GPS track, GPS log.
Commercial data. He wins. He's not for profit. Some of us that are here for profit,
For once.
I don't think that's going to last. I'm seeing a lot of Flickr wins too. Flickr's not for profit.
No.
Well,
Yeah, no, it is.
well, but you know what I mean.
It's business.
It's a business.
People don't perceive it that way. Google Maps is a
Well, okay, but then there's your answer, right?
That's why they're invested.
The thing that we used to say, or maybe it was just me, was we should make something good enough that people want to pay money for. Right? Like the example for, forever has always been iTunes, right? Just like, yes, people will pay money for something, but you're just like, it's kind of an unsatisfying answer. But, there's a project that started out of New York last year called Kickstarter. And Kickstarter is a website where people who are going to make something, like a movie, a book, a record, or whatever, and they put up a page and they say, I need to raise, well, yeah, do you want to tell the story? Because it's great. Like, Kickstarter is amazing, right?
Yeah, so I mean, basically,
So you're crowdsourcing money, right?
well, I mean, it's a platform for people to put up a project, do some kind of pitch video, or explain what they want to do. It doesn't have to be a physical, it can be a physical thing like a CD or or a movie, but it can also be a more ephemeral thing like a trip around the world. And then they set reward levels. So say if someone contributes $25, they get this postcard from me. If they contribute $50, all the way up to like $1,000, come to my house and I'll make you dinner, that kind of thing.
right.
Or just nothing. Or sometimes people don't really offer anything, and it's just part of funding the project and feeling like you're supporting it. And it's been, I guess the point is it's been phenomenally successful, right? I mean, it's several $1 million have been pledged through it at this point.
But we've seen this model. I mean, we've seen this before. Luckily, not everyone here is 22. A lot of here survived the .com bust. So we've seen this before, where you have something new. It gets really, really popular. Everybody does it, and then it kind of gets overload. The overload that I'm seeing in my community is when we first started doing this, it was 1 or 2 different stories: Amazon reviews, Yelp reviews. Now it's everything.
For those that are late, can you explain all
The value of crowdsourcing. Oh, the stuff that I'm doing. I live in Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm doing stuff for local art walks. So one of the things that is exciting for me is I'm not here. I'm not in the Silicon Valley, so my data quality is crap. Here, even in Silicon Valley, in San Jose, my data quality was pretty bad. I had to go to 2 gas stations from Google Maps before I found one that was really there. So the reason why I'm saying this is, you guys here, we are all working to motivate people to put in data, but we're starting with pretty much a fixed supply of folks. And there are 1 or 2 different places where they can put in data. But soon there are going to be 20 different places, 40 different places, 100 different places, and 1,000 different places. And already right now, we're already starting to see the less exciting locations have really, really bad data quality, and that's only going to get worse for the commercial applications. For Flickr's really big, and they don't feel like a for-profit organization. Not-for-profits are going to be...
Because they're providing some sort of other service and then deriving value from your use of it?
Because they're helping me track my photos. I mean, it's the same way. I don't know if it's a for-profit, non-profit. I mean, I have people on my board. I run a small nature education magazine and website based in Berkeley, and they want me, we get all kinds of we have local photographers who love us, blah, blah, blah. They wanted me to start a photo sharing site for local nature photographers. I told them they were crazy. We'll put a Flickr feed on our homepage. Forget it. I mean, give me a break. Because Flickr isn't about, it's not just about sharing photos with the whole world. It's about tracking my own photos and
It's like
sharing
an
them with my
API.
friends.
Maybe that's what I
Yeah.
should have said. It's
Well, it provides a service,
Yeah.
though, that is different from, I don't know, uploading photos so that other people can publish them or something. That's not what.
For example, do you allow people to
I don't
export?
do any reviews.
So
So for me,
people write-
the reason I point this out is I'm an example of a market that's not here, and I can tell you from the people that are leveraging this data, because I'm also using the same APIs. I had a friend at Where2O tell me that he was from W Cities. He said, "Oh yeah, we cover Jacksonville," and he pointed out. I was like, "Oh, I didn't know they covered Jacksonville." So I went to W Cities, and the #1 restaurant in W Cities for my city has been closed for 4 years. So what I wanted to point out while we're here, and I don't want to dominate time on the talker, but you guys should also think about, we're going to have so many different spots for people to crowdsource information. people only have 24 hours a day, and it's really not that important to us.